The cracked screen of my phone lit up with her message, and my stomach dropped so hard I felt it in my teeth. I read the new restaurant name, stayed quiet, and pretended my hands were not shaking, because why would my best friend do this 4 hours before her birthday dinner? For weeks, the plan had been the same. A little ramen spot with fogged-up windows and mismatched bowls, the kind of place where the broth made you feel like someone cared about you. Cheap, loud, comforting. Our whole group loved it. I was excited in a way I had not been in a long time, because lately my life had been spreadsheets and restraint and swallowing disappointment like it was water. My name is Rhiannon. I am 27, and I work as an office coordinator for a small medical practice. I had been counting every dollar with the kind of focus that makes you meaner inside your own head. I was trying to move out of my roommate situation and into a place that was mine, even if it was tiny. I had a separate envelope for my move-in costs, and I guarded it like it was a secret. When Waverly picked ramen, I did the math once, nodded, and felt relief. I could show up. I could laugh. I could be present without paying for it later in anxiety. Then, that afternoon, the group chat pinged. Waverly. Change of plans. Rooftop tonight. Thayer got us in. That was it. No question. No, is this okay? No, I know it is last minute. Just a new name dropped like a crown on a table. My thumb hovered over the screen. I told myself not to overreact. It is just dinner. It is her birthday. But my body reacted anyway, the way it always does when someone moves the goalposts and acts like it is normal. I looked up the menu. It was exactly what I feared. $18 for cocktails with flowers floating in them. $35 for something described as seasonal and curated. Tiny portions on giant white plates. The kind of place where the lighting is dim so you do not see your regret. I stared at the prices until the numbers blurred. Then I sat back on my couch and felt this hot, humiliating wave of shame crawl up my chest. I hate money conversations. I hate how quickly people decide what kind of person you are based on what you can afford. I hate the way a budget makes you look like you are choosing to be difficult. I typed, deleted, typed again. In the group chat, people were reacting with little hearts and excited messages. Someone wrote, "This is going to be so fun." Someone else wrote, "Finally, somewhere nice." I felt myself get very still. I texted Waverly privately, "Hey, I am really excited for tonight, but I just checked the menu and the rooftop place is way outside my budget right now. Any chance we could stick to the ramen plan?" I stared at the little delivered mark like it was a verdict. She replied fast, "Ree, come on. I only turned 28 once. I want it to feel special. Just treat yourself for one night. Treat yourself." With money I did not have, for a restaurant I did not agree to. That she changed with 4 hours notice. I could practically hear her voice saying it, light and teasing, like my financial reality was a cute quirk, like the idea of me stressing over rent and deposits was something I could turn off with a smile. I swallowed and tried again because I did not want this to become a fight. I get it, I do. I just cannot swing that kind of cost right now. I already set aside money for ramen. Her typing bubble appeared, paused, and appeared again. "If you cared, you would make it work." That sentence hit me like a slap, not because it was loud, but because it was so casual. Like she was stating a fact about my character. I sat there with my phone in my hand, cheeks burning, eyes stinging, and I hated myself for feeling like I needed to explain. I hated that I was already rehearsing apologies. I was tired of being the friend who always smoothed things over, the one who made herself smaller so other people could feel bigger. So I did something I almost never do. I stopped talking. I sent one final message. "I cannot make it tonight, but I love you. I hope you have the best birthday. I will drop your gift off tomorrow." She left me on red. I bought her gift earlier in the week, something she had mentioned wanting, a little bracelet with a simple charm. It was not expensive, but it was thoughtful. I wrapped it carefully, like the wrapping could prove something about my intentions, like ribbon could protect me from being misunderstood. All afternoon I tried to go about my day like I was fine. I cleaned my kitchen. I folded laundry. I opened my moving spreadsheet and stared at the columns until my eyes ached. Every few minutes I checked the group chat, and every time I did, I felt the same sinking sensation. People were posting outfit photos. Someone asked if anyone wanted to split an appetizer tower. Waverly replied with laughing messages, and for a second I felt irrationally angry at how easy her joy looked. Then the anger turned inward, the way it always does, and I thought maybe I am just too sensitive. Maybe I should have gone. Maybe I should have put it on a credit card and dealt with the stress later. Maybe friendship means discomfort. But then I pictured myself sitting at that rooftop table, smiling while I did mental math on every menu item, pretending I was not terrified. I pictured Waverly ordering for the table because she loves to do that, loves to play host, and me nodding along while my stomach dropped with every added plate. I pictured the check arriving and the moment where people decide how to split it, the moment where someone always says, "Let us just divide it evenly," because that is easiest. Evenly is never easy for the person who cannot afford it, and something else was nagging at me, something I could not name yet. The last few months, Waverly had been different. Not mean exactly, just slippery, like she was always tilting situations, so she came out looking generous while someone else paid the price. A small memory floated up. A couple of months earlier, she had asked me to book concert tickets on my card because her bank app was acting up. She promised she would send me the money right away. She did not. When I reminded her, she laughed and said, "Stop stressing, I will get you." It took 3 weeks. Another memory, a group brunch where she ordered 3 extra things for the table and then disappeared when it was time to pay, reappearing with a bright smile and a story about the bathroom line. Little things, tiny cuts, the kind you dismiss because you love someone, because you do not want to believe they would do that on purpose. That is what made did this rooftop change feel different? Not just expensive, strategic. At around 7 in the evening, my phone buzzed again. A message from Waverly, not in the group chat, just to me. I cannot believe you are doing this. Everyone is here. You are embarrassing me. Embarrassing her. I stared at that word until my throat felt tight. It was not about my absence. It was about her image, her night, her story of being the kind of woman whose friends show up anywhere, no matter the cost. I typed, then stopped. I could already feel the spiral. If I explained, she would argue. If I argued, she would cry. If she cried, I would end up apologizing for having a budget. So I did the quiet thing again. I did not answer. Instead, I opened my laptop and pulled up my bank app. I checked my balances, my envelopes, my planned expenses. I reminded myself that my future mattered, that the version of me who wanted a place of her own deserved protection. I told myself that friendship does not require financial self-harm. Then I heard another notification. This time it was from someone else in the group, a friend named Greer. Are you coming? Waverly is kind of freaking out. She said you promised to cover part of tonight because you owed her for last month. What is happening? My whole body went cold. I read it again. Promised to cover part of tonight, owed her. I had never said anything like that. Not once. I did not even know what she could be referring to. My hands started to shake, but it was not panic now. It was something sharper, something that felt like clarity and betrayal at the same time, so that was it. This was not about a special night. This was about setting a scene where I either paid or I looked like the villain. I took a slow breath, and for the first time all day, I felt calm. Not because it was okay, because I finally understood what game she was playing. Quick real-life pause. Some nights I am editing and I want to quit, but then I see your comments and I keep going. Like, subscribe, and tell me your city, state, or country. Alright, now let me take you back. I stared at Greer's message, then opened my texts with Waverly and scrolled. I did not have to dig far. There it was, plain as day. Her treat yourself line. Her if you cared line. And right before that, my polite request to stick with ramen, the one she ignored like it was nothing. My thumb hovered over the screenshot buttons. I could have sent the proof to Greer immediately. I could have corrected the lie right there. But I did not. Not yet. Because I knew something about Waverly. When she thinks she is in control, she gets careless. She gets bold. She tells bigger stories. She stacks lies on top of each other until the whole thing becomes too heavy to hold. So I did what I always do when I finally decide I am done being nice. I stayed quiet and I started collecting. I set my phone down, then picked it up again, because my hands could not decide whether they wanted to shake or work. My chest felt tight, but my mind was oddly clear. If Waverly was telling people I owed her money, then she was not just changing a venue. She was changing the story. I opened a notes app and started a list of everything I could prove. Not feelings, not opinions, proof. I went back to the very first group chat message where she announced ramen weeks ago. I scrolled to the little calendar screenshot she had posted, the one with the original place and a time. I took a screenshot, then another one of her last minute switch, then another one of my private message where I explained my budget, then her reply that said if I cared, I would make it work. My fingers moved fast like they were protecting me from something. Then I did something I normally never do. I opened my bank app again, not to obsess, but to anchor myself. I looked at my moving savings and I whispered, you are not touching that. I did not know who I was whispering to. Maybe to my weaker self. Greer messaged again. She is saying you promised her you would help pay because you are always tight on money and she covers you. The anger that rose up in me was hot and sharp, and it came with humiliation. Tight on money, covers you. Like I was a charity case that she had been carrying out of the goodness of her heart. I thought of the concert tickets. I thought of the brunch. I thought of the little moments. I swallowed because I did not want to be the difficult friend. I had been so focused on being grateful that I never noticed how often she positioned herself as the generous one. I took a deep breath. Then I typed to Greer. I did not promise that. I asked her to keep the original dinner because the new place was out of my budget. She told me to treat myself. I have screenshots. Greer replied almost immediately. Send them. My thumb hovered. This was the first fork in the road. If I sent the screenshots, the situation would explode. I would become the problem because people hate proof when it ruins a fun night. They would say I was being dramatic. They would say I should have just talked to Waverly. Like I had not. So I wrote back, not yet. I want to understand what she told everyone first. Can you tell me exactly what she said and who she said it to? Greer paused, then responded. She told the table you were upset she did not choose the ramen place you wanted and that you said you would not come unless she went there. Then she said you were still going to send money later because you owe her from last month. Thayer said he could cover you tonight, but she said you refused out of pride. My stomach turned. So she made me controlling, then selfish, then proud. She gave me multiple faces, all ugly, so nobody would question her. I wrote one more calm line. Thank you. Please do not argue for me. Just listen. I did not want to fight in the group chat. I did not want Greer caught in the middle. I wanted Waverly to keep talking. I opened the group chat and watched it like a silent observer. Photos started coming in, a blurry shot of the skyline, a glass with something pink. Waverly laughing in the background of someone else's video. She looked happy. She looked like the kind of happy that comes from being the center of attention. Then, in the middle of the pictures, she typed a message. Wish Rhiannon was here, but some people cannot put friendship first. I felt my face get hot. I could almost hear my own heartbeat. That message was not for me. It was for the audience. It was a performance, and I was the villain. For a few seconds, I stared at my phone and wanted to throw it. I wanted to type a long message, attach every screenshot, and burn the whole thing down. I wanted to defend myself because being misrepresented is one of my deepest triggers, but then I imagined it. Everyone at the table, drinks in hand, reading my proof with their eyes half glazed from alcohol and excitement. Someone would roll their eyes. Someone would say this is not the time. Someone would say let it go. Waverly would cry. Thayer would get protective. The night would become a messy scene where I looked like I ruined her birthday. She would win again. So I did the opposite. I stayed quiet. And I did one small thing that made me feel like I could breathe. I called the ramen place. The hostess recognized the group name immediately because Waverly had been texting them for days about a big table. The hostess sounded apologetic. Yeah, she canceled this afternoon. She said she would not be needing the reservation. She asked if there was a cancellation fee. My throat tightened. There is a cancellation fee? The hostess hesitated, like she was deciding whether she should say it. For large groups, we hold staff and a block of tables. It is not huge, but yes. We charge a fee if it is late. I thanked her and hung up, then sat there in silence with my phone in my lap. A cancellation fee? That meant Waverly had just cost herself money. Or she had cost someone else money. And suddenly, a little puzzle piece clicked into place. What if that was why she was saying I owed her? What if she was trying to make me pay for her own last-minute change? The thought made me feel sick, but it also made everything make sense. I searched my messages for anything about last month, anything she could twist into a debt. I found a night where she had insisted on paying for an Uber when it was raining. I had offered to send her my share. She had said, do not worry about it is fine. Then she never mentioned it again, until tonight. Micro twist 1, she was not remembering old favors. She was collecting them. I opened my email and looked for any Venmo receipts, any transfers, anything that showed I had paid her back when I could. There were a few. I saved them into a folder. I was not building a case for court. I was building a case for reality. Then my phone buzzed again. This time it was a message request on a social app I rarely used, the one Waverly loved because she posted everything there. It was from Colette, a friend of a friend, someone I had met maybe twice. Her message was short. Hey, I am sorry to bother you. Waverly asked me to send you something. My stomach clenched. Colette sent a screenshot. It was a message from Waverly to Colette that said, Rhiannon is being weird about money again. Can you remind her it is rude to skip birthdays over a bill? Tell her everyone thinks it is selfish. I stared at the words, and this time the sting was deeper than anger. It was grief, because you do not recruit strangers to shame your friend unless you have already decided your friend is an object you can move around. I replied to Colette carefully. Thank you for telling me. You did not do anything wrong. Please do not message her back about me. I am going to handle it. Colette responded, I believe you. She has been talking about you a lot lately. Micro twist 2, talking about me a lot. I sat up straight. My mouth went dry. What does that mean? Colette wrote, like you are always negative and you do not want her to level up. She keeps saying you want her stuck. It did not sit right with me. Level up. I almost laughed, but it came out like a breath. Waverly had been using this new vocabulary ever since she started dating Thayer. Level up, upgrade, soft life, main character energy, like she was in a show and the rest of us were background. And apparently in her story, I was the friend who could not keep up. I put my phone down and paced my living room. My apartment felt smaller with every step, like the walls were closing in with all the things I had not said over the years. I stopped in front of my mirror and looked at myself. My hair was pulled back. My eyes were tired. I looked like a woman who had been trying to be easy to love. A new message came in from Waverly. Are you really going to punish me on my birthday? I stared at it. Punish. Like her choice had not forced mine. Like I was holding something over her, when the only thing I was holding was my own boundary. I typed a reply, then deleted it. I typed again, then deleted it again. Finally, I wrote one word. Okay, that was it. No argument, no explanation, no defense, just okay. Then I turned my phone face down. This was the part where she would get overconfident. I knew Waverly. When she did not get an emotional reaction, she escalated. She would push harder to force me to play my role. And she did. A few minutes later, Greer messaged me. She just announced to the table that she is covering your share of the gift you sent because she says you probably could not afford it. People are awkward. Hayes looks mad. Rowan is staring at her like she does not believe her. My hands went numb. She was rewriting my gift now, turning my kindness into her generosity, turning my effort into her pity. Micro twist 3, she was not just lying about money. She was taking credit for my care. I took another slow breath and something settled inside me. This was no longer about one dinner. This was about power, about narrative, about how she wanted to be seen. So I did the quietest revenge I could think of. I did nothing in the moment. Instead, I opened my contacts and found Rowan. She was not my closest friend, but she was fair. She was also the kind of person who noticed details and hated manipulation. I sent Rowan one simple message. I heard some things are being said about me tonight. I am not going to argue in the group chat. If you want the truth, I can send screenshots tomorrow. No pressure. I hope you are safe getting home. Then I put my phone down again. I walked to my kitchen and made myself a plain bowl of rice because my stomach was too tight for anything else. While the water boiled, I looked around my apartment. At the half-packed boxes I had started collecting for my move, I touched the edge of one and felt something like pride. I had been building a future quietly. I did not need Waverly to approve of it. When I sat to eat, my phone buzzed once more. A notification from the rooftop place appeared on my screen because weeks ago, Waverly had insisted we all download the same reservation app for group events. Someone had added me to a split payment request. Not Waverly, Thayer. The request description said, Waverly birthday dinner, your portion, and the amount was more than I had budgeted for ramen by several times. I stared at the screen, and for the first time that night, I smiled. Not because it was funny, because it was proof delivered straight into my hands with a timestamp and a name attached. They had just handed me exactly what I needed. I did not touch the payment request right away. I just stared at it until my eyes stopped burning, and the anger turned into something colder, because now it was not a rumor passed around a table. It was an official request tied to a time, a place, and a name. I took a screenshot, then another showing the details, the amount, the description. The way it sat there like an assumption, I could have declined it instantly, but I wanted to see what else they would do while they thought I was asleep. I wanted them to hang themselves with their own confidence. So I set my phone face down and went back to my rice. My hands had stopped shaking. My heartbeat had slowed. That was when I knew I was done trying to be understood by someone determined to misunderstand me. Late that night, I woke to more buzzing. I did not open my eyes at first. I listened to the sound the way you listen to rain, resigned. When I finally looked, there were messages stacked act like a wall. Waverly again and again, asking if I was really going to make her look bad, saying she did not deserve this, saying she had always been there for me, saying I was cruel, saying she expected better. Then one message from Thayer. Hey, I sent that by accident. Just ignore it. Accident. My mouth actually fell open in the dark. If it was an accident, he would have canceled it. If it was an accident, he would have said sorry. If it was an accident, he would not have needed me to ignore it. I sat up and opened the group chat. People had gone quiet. A few new photos, then nothing. But I could tell by the silence that something had shifted. The night had probably gotten tense. It always does when a lie has to keep adjusting to fit the room. I did not reply to anyone. I did not decline the request. I did not call anyone. I let the silence do what it does best. In the morning, my apartment looked different. Not because anything had changed, but because I had. The light came through my blinds and landed on my half-packed boxes. And for once, it did not feel like a scramble. It felt like a plan. I showered, put on jeans, and made coffee that tasted too bitter. Then I opened my phone and created a folder called Birthday. Inside it, I saved every screenshot in order. Not to be petty, to be precise. I also did something that made my stomach twist, but I did it anyway. I called the rooftop restaurant. I kept my voice calm and polite. I said I had been added to a split payment request for a dinner I did not attend, and I wanted to confirm whether my name was on the reservation or the check. The hostess put me on hold, then came back. You are not listed as a guest on the reservation, and you are not on the payment method. We do not split bills through our system. That would be between guests. So they had done it on the app, the group split feature, the one people use when they want everything to feel casual and automatic, so nobody has to look anyone in the eye and ask, are you okay with this? I thanked the hostess and hung up. Then I opened the request again and finally tapped decline. It asked if I wanted to add a note. I wrote one sentence. I did not attend, and I never agreed to this venue or this cost. And I took a screenshot of that too. My phone buzzed almost immediately. Waverly, why would you decline it? That makes me look insane. I stared at that line and I felt this strange clarity, like I had been underwater for months and just broke the surface. I typed one word again. Okay. Then I put my phone down and went to the ramen place. Not to eat, not to make a point. To pay the cancellation fee quietly, without drama, because I already suspected what happened. If Waverly had been charged, she would have tried to pass it to someone else. She would have framed it as me owing her. She would have turned her own impulsive choice into my responsibility. The hostess recognized my voice from the day before. The fee was already settled, she said. Settled by who? She checked the system. It was paid with a card under the name Greer. My chest tightened. Greer. Of course it was Greer. Greer always tries to keep things smooth. Greer hates conflict. Greer would have heard Waverly complain and just paid it to stop the stress. The way people do when they think it is easier to spend money than to face the truth. I thanked the hostess and walked back to my car with my hands clenched around my keys. I did not text Greer immediately. I did not want her defensive. I did not want her embarrassed. I wanted her to have the dignity of hearing it in a way that did not feel like an attack. Instead, I drove to Waverly's place with her gift bag on the passenger seat. I had not planned to see her, but something in me needed to do this right. Not for her, for me. I needed to know that I could show up with kindness and still hold a boundary. When she opened the door, her face was puffy. She was wearing yesterday's makeup like a smudge of proof. For half a second, she looked like my friend again. Then her expression hardened and the performance returned. So she said, "You are here to make me feel worse." I held out the gift. My voice stayed steady. "I came to drop this off like I said I would." She took it, glanced at it, then laughed without humor. "Wow, a bracelet. That totally makes up for you humiliating me." "Humiliating you," I repeated softly. "Yes," she snapped. "People were asking where you were. Thayer made this whole thing happen, and you could not just show up." I nodded slowly, like I was listening to a stranger. "I got a payment request from Thayer for a dinner I did not attend," I said. Her eyes flicked away for a split second. There it was, the crack. "That was an accident," she said quickly. "He was just trying to split things easily." "Accident," I repeated again, still calm. "You also told people I owed you money from last month." Her jaw tightened. "Because you do," she said. "You always act like you are broke, and then you make me look like the bad guy for wanting one nice night." I did not argue. I did not raise my voice. I did not list all the ways I had paid my share, or covered her, or waited for her to pay me back. I did not have to. Not anymore. I said one small question. "What exactly do I owe you for?" She blinked. Her mouth opened, then closed. "You know," she said, "just things." I nodded again. "Okay," I said. "Send me the itemized list and the dates in writing." Her face changed. That sentence landed harder than any insult could have, because it turned her feelings into a request for facts, and facts are where she was weakest. She started talking faster. "You are making this so weird. It is my birthday weekend. I should not have to justify myself to you." I kept my tone gentle. "Then do not justify it. Just stop telling people I promised you money." She stared at me like she was waiting for me to crumble, to apologize, to take it back. When I did not, she went colder. "So you are really choosing money over me?" I felt something in my chest loosen, like a knot finally giving up. "No," I said. "I am choosing reality over your story." Her eyes flashed. "Get out," she said. I left, quietly. No slamming doors, no dramatic final speech. I walked to my car and drove away, and for the first time in years, I did not feel the need to fix her feelings. When I got home, I sent a message to Greer. "Hey, I found out you paid the ramen cancellation fee yesterday. I did not know that was put on you. Waverly told people I owed her money. I have screenshots of what was said and the payment request Thayer sent me. If you want to see them, I can send them. I am not trying to start drama. I just need the truth to be clear." Greer replied a few minutes later. "Please send everything. I feel sick." So I did. Not in the group chat, not to everyone, just to Greer and Rowan because they had earned the truth. I sent the screenshots in order, with no commentary beyond a simple timeline. I did not accuse. I did not name call. I let Waverly's words speak for themselves. Then I waited. The next message came from Rowan. I am sorry. I believed her at first. I should not have. Then a message from Greer. She told me you agreed to cover the ramen fee because you made her change plans. That is why I paid it. She said you were refusing to send it. Rhiannon, I am so embarrassed. I swallowed the urge to say I told you so. You do not have to be embarrassed, I typed. That was the point. She wanted you to feel like it was easier to pay than to question her. Greer did not reply for a while. Then she wrote, Dyer just texted me. He said Waverly told him to send the split request to pressure you. He says he did not know you did not come. He says she told him you were being stubborn. I sat back and stared at the wall. There was the ugly little truth. She did not just lie to me. She lied through me. An hour later, the group chat woke up like a hornet nest. Hayes wrote, what happened last night? Why is there a payment request drama? Waverly typed something long, then deleted it. Typed again, deleted again. Then she wrote, I do not want to talk about this in here. Rowan replied, then stop talking about Rhiannon in here. Greer said, you told me she owed you money and you made me pay the ramen fee. That was not okay. Waverly wrote, I never made you do anything. And that was the moment. The moment she slipped into the lie that was easiest for her, not the one that matched the evidence. Because Greer posted the receipt from the ramen place, the one with her name on it. No insults. No dramatic language. Just proof. Waverly went silent. Then Thayer left the group chat. A few minutes later, Waverly did too. The chat stayed quiet after that. Like everyone was processing the strange relief of seeing a pattern finally named. Later that day, Rowan called me. Her voice was soft. We are going to the ramen place tonight, she said. Not for her, for us. For what the plan was supposed to be. If you want to come. I hesitated. My instinct was still to hide when things got messy. But then I looked at my boxes again and remembered who I was trying to become. So I went. The ramen place smelled like broth and garlic and warm air. The windows were fogged. The bowls were still mismatched. When I walked in, Greer stood up first, eyes shiny, and hugged me like she was holding on to something solid. I did not gloat. I did not punish. I just sat down and ate the meal I could afford, with people who finally understood that my budget was not a betrayal. After dinner, Greer walked me to my car. I paid you back for the fee, she said. I know that does not fix what she did, but I needed to do it. I nodded. Thank you, I said, and I meant it. On my way home, my landlord called. He said the tenant in the little studio I had been eyeing backed out, and if I still wanted it, it was mine. I pulled into a parking lot and stared at the steering wheel, and tears fell before I even realized I was crying. Relief, joy, the strange ache of realizing I had been living for too long like stability was something I had to apologize for. That night, as I taped my moving boxes shut, my phone buzzed one last time with a message from an unknown number. It was Waverly. I hope you are happy. You always wanted me to look bad. I stared at it for a long time. Then I did the quietest, cleanest thing I have ever done. I blocked the number. And the next morning, when I carried my first box into my new place, I realized the final twist was not that she lied, or that she tried to charge me, or that she used my absence as a stage. The final twist was that the moment I stopped funding her story, I finally afforded my own.